Hello there and welcome. Welcome, fellow stargazers and seekers of the cosmic light. It's Psychic Cynthia here, and welcome to your Friday forecast. This is your forecast for the week ahead, and that would be the week of Monday, October 26th through Sunday, November 1st. And let me start out by saying, happy time of Sun in Scorpio. Yes, that's right. As I'm filming this video, the Sun will be entering Scorpio, and by the time you watch it, we will be in the time of Sun in Scorpio. So happy time in Scorpio, and happy birthday to all you Scorpios out there. This is a wonderful time of deep transformation for those who are open to it. A time of great letting go so that we can grow. The big news this week is the October 31st, aka Halloween Samhain full moon. Yes, that's right. We are having a full moon this year on the day of October 31st, 2020. And again, this is your forecast for the week ahead, not just for the full moon, but that is the big keynote. And our week ahead is October 26, 2020. Through November 1st, 2020. Let's get started going deeper, shall we? Alrighty, so you've probably heard about this October 31st full moon. And you may have heard that it is a blue moon. In addition to being a full moon, it is a blue moon. Now, in case you haven't heard this part already, what the term blue moon means here simply is that it is the second full moon in a single calendar month. As such, it doesn't really have a lot of meaning, the blue moon part, or let me say a lot of weight to us astrologers, because astrology, although we utilize the calendar to mark the days, we're really going more by the cosmic cycles and not just by what was set up by the Gregorian calendars. And especially because the calendar we have is more solar based rather than lunar. But still, it's kind of cool when we have two full moons in 1 month, and I think there might be a little extra magic, at least for those of us who feel it, and there might be a little extra tension, because full moons do bring up tension. They do bring conflict to the spotlight in order to be resolved. So this full moon, this Halloween Samhain October 31st full moon, again in the year 2020, is taking place at 8 degrees Taurus. And what that means exactly, remember, a full moon happens when the sun and the moon are opposite each other. So we have the sun in Scorpio at 8 degrees and the moon in Taurus at 8 degrees, and they're just shining their light towards each other. Actually, the moon doesn't have light physically in this sense that we see on Earth. What we see from the moon is the sun's light. So the Sun in Scorpio is reflecting her light or his light upon the moon in Taurus. And this is a powerful axis of energy, these signs of Taurus and Scorpio that we're dancing in here. This is going to bring up for many issues around love and relationships and finances, and also issues of power. I don't know if you know a lot about these signs, Taurus or Scorpio, but to me, I think about them as both being connected to power and wealth. And that is, the power that they have is both worldly and spiritual. So we'll be dancing around this issue of power and also sharing and boundaries. What belongs to me or you? What belongs to you? What is your private stuff? What is just for you versus what you share. That also is represented by this synergy of energy with Taurus and Scorpio, by the opposition here. So we'll be looking at the boundaries, what belongs to you, what you do not want to share, what you do want to share. And really, also, Taurus is a very, cozy kind of sign. And around this time that we're moving into the full moon in Taurus, you may find that you seek comfort in very earthy type things, or that, you are concerned with your finances and you want to have enough to get through winter. And I think that's particularly true with this moon, another name for it being the hunter's moon, a folk name. So this is the time when the hunters would go out and, gather up meat to last through winter. So there's this idea that we're dancing with, maybe some scarcity issues. Are your abundance issues coming up? Are you afraid of not having enough? If so, maybe it's time to retool your abundance consciousness to, tap back into those higher cosmic energies of enoughness, to talk with your guides, to face your fears around money, to face your fears around, actually what we're talking about is survival. Taurus is very linked to survival issues, and Scorpio is, one of the signs of death. I mean, probably the sign of death. So I think for many people, you want to look at this on deeper levels. We're dancing with this issue of, survival. And I know a lot of people are struggling right now with that. I mean, the worldwide economy has basically been wrecked by the COVID crisis. But that doesn't mean it has to be wrecked for you. Because I think when you go deeper into these signs, and especially the Scorpio element, Scorpio is magical, and it is the master of transformation. So even if your own personal economy has been wrecked, if finances are an issue, this full moon may be bringing that to your attention, this full moon in Taurus, to help you dig deep within and to find the resources to transform that, the inner resources. This is definitely a kind of self-reliant, can-do energy. This may not be the best time for depending on others, because this is a time to learn to develop and depend upon yourself. So anyway, that's a little snapshot of this upcoming full moon in Taurus. Now listen, the full moon is actually not Halloween night, okay? The full moon is technically exact at 9:49 a.m. Central Time, or that's going to be 10:49 Eastern Time. And these are all United States times, and they're also daylight savings times. Even though we're going to be setting our clock back, I believe the day after, this full moon, or shortly next weekend, okay? So don't forget to set your clocks back. But my point with this is that if you're going to take your crystals outside to charge them, or you have some salt you want to charge for taking cleansing baths, or maybe you want to, give your tarot or your runes or some jewelry a little extra charge by the moonlight, it would be better, it would be more powerful is what I mean, if you could put the stuff out to charge the night before, October 30th. Because by the time the moon rises again on actually Halloween, on October 31st, I mean, the culmination of the full moon is going to have passed by. I mean, you understand it's at its height at 9:49 a.m. in a central time zone, or 10:49 a.m. That's both before lunch. And if you're in Pacific time zone, I mean, it's more like 7:49 a.m. So yeah, I would put it out the night before, okay, if you can. Now, listen, if you missed the night before, of course, I mean, there's something special about Halloween, too, I think. Having some Celtic ancestry, and with it being the celebration of our ancestors, a day to commune with the dead, with our loved ones who have passed. So there is something special about the full moon coming that close. The thing about Halloween, it is more of a, you might say, lunar holiday. I mean, it's not based on the moon, but it's celebrated on the evening. It begins on the evening. I don't know if you know that, but it's actually Halloween Eve. So we celebrate on the evening of October 31st, going in to the next day. Those of us who celebrate it spiritually. Now, I understand with the kids, well, even with the children, we take them out in the evening, right? So by the time the evening goes around, the moon will already be waning, what we call decreasing a little bit. But still, it could still be a good time to put out your amulets and your tarot and anything you want to be charged with energy. And of course, if you can get yourself out underneath the light of the full moon on either of these nights, on either October 30th or October 31st, that would be good. Give yourself a few minutes to soak up that lunar energy. There's something very cooling and soothing when we expose ourselves to the light of the moon, which, remember, the light of the moon is actually the light of the sun being reflected back. It's, that inner self reflecting back the light of the divine. So it's very cool to get out and soak that up. So anyway, that's the big news this week ahead. And listen, when the moon is full exactly on that day, and it's really building up all week, okay? So the moon will be very close to Uranus. It will be conjunct the planet Uranus, and the sun will be opposing Uranus. This is a once-a-year thing, and I've talked about Uranus before in these videos. Uranus is a very interesting planet. It is the planet of surprises and sudden breakthroughs and suddenness, sudden unexpected things happening. And we also have Mercury in retrograde and Mars in retrograde still. So yeah, it could be a little interesting. Something interesting could happen to you this week, and especially near the end of the week, right around Halloween, right around October 31st or October 30th. Don't expect things to go as planned with these types of transits for the whole week, with Mercury in retrograde, Mars in retrograde, and now the sun and Uranus are going to be having that opposition, and the moon is going to be conjuncting Uranus. Surprises. I don't know if they're going to be positive or negative or welcome or unwelcome. I think that if you can just set the intention right now that you will be open to flow with what happens, that would be most useful, dear one. So what an interesting week ahead it shall be, and a great week for those of us who want to go deeper in our own personal transformation. So look at that balance between, accumulating, collecting, building, and focusing on the material world versus cleansing and letting go and transformation and focusing on the more spiritual realm. Don't forget the spiritual realm while you're dealing with whatever crises you have to deal with in the material realm. I get it. We all have stuff to deal with, but don't forget to connect with your ancestors, to strengthen your own spiritual and etheric energies. This would be a great week for taking a cleansing bath if you can, or some kind of herbal or spiritual related bath, or just doing a ritual or a ceremony, whatever your personal ceremony is for amping up your aura. I mean, it could be from any tradition. I mean, if you're like me and you practice in the magical arts, I mean, the cleansing baths are good, or maybe you go outside and drum and do a ceremony in nature. I mean, even if you're a Christian, you could say the Lord's Prayer or the Rosary. Every spiritual tradition has these practices for building up the energy field and cleansing. And by the way, building up and cleansing are two different things. And if you think of it, like Taurus is the building up and the strengthening, and Scorpio is the cleansing. And we have both of these energies being activated now, so we need both. And you may need more building up, or you may need more cleansing. That's what maybe you ought to look at this week. Are you needing to focus on building up and accumulating, building a foundation, or do you need to declutter? Do you need to disentangle? There's definitely some disentanglements to be done with all the Scorpio energy right now. And I think it's important to just know what is yours to do and what is not. And especially in this time we're entering in, we are here in the United States pre-election. I mean, the election is actually happening early now. People are voting and doing mail-in ballots and doing early voting, and a lot of people are getting worked up about that. But remember, there is a higher plan. Whatever you vote or don't vote, just do what you're going to do on that or not do, and then let it go. Let it go, and know that no matter what happens with, voting or any of that, you can be okay. Because you are an eternal soul on an eternal journey. Your journey did not begin in this life. it will not end in this life, and it certainly will not end with this election. So don't be ridiculous about it, okay? All I'm saying is get a little bit more grounded. And the Taurus new moon Taurus full moon will point out to you areas where you need to be more grounded. That's the other thing. So explore where you do need to be more grounded, where you do need to be more connected with the material realm. And I know the material realm kind of gets a bad rap among spiritual people sometimes, but listen to the sound of that word. Material comes from Latin mater, which is mother. Mother. So when we're connecting in properly with the material realm in a spiritual sense, we're seeing that this realm is an outgrowth of the Mother Earth, of the nurturing, of the love that divinity has for us, that Source has for us. And when we see it that way, when we see the material realm, not as something dirty or coarse, but as something that is here to nurture us on our spiritual journeys, then you don't have to divide it out so much, and you can be more open to abundance. You can be more open to health. You can be more open to having, a nice place to live in, and work that is meaningful and fulfilling, and work that you can feel good about, for example, and a body that works well to support you in all of this. Alrighty, well, there's some thoughts on the full moon in Taurus for you, October 31st, 2020, and just thoughts for the week ahead. Again, our week ahead is October 26th through November 1st. I thank you for watching, and until next time, may all the blessings of the cosmic energies, and especially the light of this full moon, shine down upon you and give you the energy and drive and motivation that you need to make completion in the realm of love and finances, especially, or wherever it is you need to get stuff done and transform. Bright blessings.